I always said the best relationship started as friendship. We started as friendship. And as friends, you let down your guard, you can be yourself. So the communication was easier because we weren't putting on airs, we weren't trying to be someone that we're not, just friends.
Hey, welcome to Florida Masters Podcast. My name is John Barrett, your host, and I'm back with a banger. I took a week off, but we're back. I'm in my city. I'm here with some amazing couples, and I'm here with the wife of my youth, Jessa Barrett.
Hey, everybody.
So I'm elated because I have a couple on that's going to be basically mentoring us throughout this session. But before I tell you who they are and what they do, please follow us on all platforms at Florida Masters Podcast. I'm here with Nicole and Jamal Lewis. How you guys doing?
All right. Good.
All right. Hey, this is a full circle moment, not only because, you were like, my dad on mobilization, but you were my first ever podcast guest.
Awesome.
And now this is episode, I don't know, like 90.
Yeah, what is that, 2021?
Yeah, that was 2021, 90. And now I'm married. We were talking about children.
Right.
You got a grandchild.
Yes.
You're out of the Army.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on. So let's catch everyone up to tell them a little bit about yourselves and like where you're from.
All right.
Okay, so my name is Nicole Lewis, and I'm the owner of a creative branding agency here in the area. Married to my wonderful husband. We have 2 adult children, and as you said, a new grandson.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so tell everyone a little about yourself, sir, and like how you met me.
Oh, okay. So again, I'm a retired Major Lewis, Jamal Lewis. I was in the Cyber Brigade, and actually, I think, in my opinion, I think God does things deliberately, and the people that were brought, the paths cross was at the Cyber Brigade. Those are like life friends, and that's where I met Jonathan. And it's we've been communicating for a while. We used to have really good mentor sessions where he was mentoring me, I was mentoring him. That goes both ways. So, and then I retired. Retired after 32 years, total service between most of the services branches. And now I work for Virginia State Police as an IT project manager, and I'm the chief operating officer for Visual Appeal LLC, which is my wife's creative marketing creative agency. So,
amen. I'm happy you're here. And you mainly mentored me though. I just want to, because becoming an officer is surreal. Becoming a black officer is even more surreal, and being a Christian in the midst of all that is even more surreal. And like to be here with you. You met my wife on mobilization, and now she's here with me as my wife.
Yes.
So how did that look like when I was like dating, and then I met my wife, and then how does it look now? Seeing me married, and like I have her on the podcast as Jessa Barrett. It's crazy.
I just changed my name this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Aww.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Honestly, I think I see a different person. I see a more rounded person, and more faith-based. So I think that's the most important thing. I mean, I remember when you first met her, you couldn't barely tell somebody. You was excited. You were mumbling. Matter of fact, when we were just talking about it, you mumbled that she was at Howard. But you mumbled it, so I thought it was Harvard, and I kept calling her Harvard for so long until she corrected me. But, you were excited about, and I had never seen you like that before. So I like the transformation that happened, and that's literally that's what it's intended for.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was when I was single as I am married. So my wife allowed me to be well-rounded. And again, you hear it before. She brings out the best part of me, so I hope I bring out the best part of her.
Baby.
But yeah, she brings out the best part of me. And that's probably, a accolade for Jessa for bringing out the best part of you.
Most definitely. She definitely helped me push me closer to Christ. And I tell that all the time because her testimony, when I met her, she was actually agnostic. I don't know if I ever
Right.
shared with you guys about that.
Okay.
She was actually agnostic. And the way she had told me, I didn't want to be one of those like Christian dudes who are like, oh man, like you should know who Jesus is, and just like
Right.
pushing it down her.
Correct.
So like slowly and surely we started praying together, doing Bible plans together, and then slowly and surely she started asking me about Jesus and things
Yeah.
like that.
I don't-
And it's,
Oh,
Right, baby?
I was gonna say on our first date, he didn't order a drink, and I was like, "You're not gonna order a drink? Wait, I'm gonna order a drink." He's like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, it's different. Okay, all right."
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so surreal. And she actually just got a tattoo.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Across
That's
that
nice.
says his and him.
I love
Just got
that.
this morning.
Did you? Oh,
Mhm.
nice. Did it hurt?
A little bit.
She was just like that. I was like, oh, that's like that's like you know. And but it's real because she pushed me closer to Christ because I had to be a better man of God in order to like help her to go in that direction. And it wasn't me; it's the Holy Spirit. But I think it's so surreal because like there was a moment when she told me she was agnostic, and I had to determine if we were going to continue dating or not.
Right.
This was like all on move.
Right.
This is all on
Right.
move. And I was like, oh man, God, like, can you tell me? And then slowly and surely, he gave me confirmation. And one of the confirmations that he gave me about her was I would ask her to pray, and she was like, no, I don't like to be put on the spot, things like that. And she came back with a list of prayers for every situation. This is on mobilization.
Right.
So I was like, okay, there's something here. Let me continue to go in that direction. So, and that was my first time really asking God for something and asking for confirmation and seeing it. So it was like surreal. And then there's plenty more examples like that throughout the course of our, dating, courting season and into marriage where, that's real. So it's evident it makes you a better person,
Right.
having a rib, the 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐷 to the Adam. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, I tell you what I really admire is, you're a younger person, but you go after God. You're running down that path. You make being a Christian cool again.
Mm-hmm.
And that inspires me. Because, people see you on these podcasts, they see you out on the street. It's the same person. This is not an act. This is something. I mean, I deployed with you. I was with you for
Yeah.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
So you never changed. You always stayed the course. People were drinking. He's like, no, I'm good. He didn't dog the people that was. People would, say they would be speaking in ways that they shouldn't be speaking, but he never dogged them. And he just continued on. And that's the type of Christian that I'm looking for my kids, and I've talked to my son-in-law about that. Maybe you guys need to talk, but
Wade, the homie Wade.
yeah, so it's not about taking the Bible and hitting your wife upside the head with it. It's about being consistent. And that's the point I'm making. You have been consistent for years. You are the spiritual leader. That's what God intended. The man is the spiritual leader of his house. Now, that doesn't mean that you tell your wife what to do.
Yeah,
and this is why I try to tell people that. And I'm glad I'm being able to make that point on this podcast. But you don't tell your wife what to do. You show your wife what you do. Hey, we're going to have Bible study on Wednesday at 6:30. If your wife don't come at 6:30, that's okay. Next Wednesday, you're going to have it again. And the next Wednesday, you're going to have it again. After a while, your wife will say, maybe there's something to it. And then she will come. That's not me saying, honey, come and sit down. No, I don't tell my wife, we need to be praying. We need to do this. I show my wife that what we need to do. So many people get that whole thing, that whole verse in the Bible wrong. Woman should be submissive to her, but because they don't read the rest of it.
The context.
As Jesus was with the church, so that piece is where it's the more important piece. We need to treat our wives as Jesus treated the church. That's the way. That's the whole point of it, I think. So,
Amen. No, I agree. Thank you for your kind words. That means the world. Because it's funny, we had an episode like a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember which one that was, but we record a lot. Right, I'll tell you that. Right? But we were talking about like just really striving to like be the same person in real life that I am on the internet. And it's so surreal and just like trying to be more holy and blameless, and that's the goal of the podcast to live holy and blameless. Not telling people how should live, but like showing them, hey, what do people that are Christians look like, striving to be as Christ-like as possible,
Correct.
and that's what we do, and I know some people are also like, they go into like the lane of like prosperity gospel and like things like that, and like if you're not highlighting suffering, you're doing something wrong. And I'm like, no, I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to highlight the suffering, but you got to know who we're going to when we are suffering.
Right.
And I think that's super important. And to your point, I think that like even like our leadership in the military, like you didn't tell me, hey Bullock, I think we should do this, things
Right.
like you would offer things to me.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I knew that you were in all of our positions before, and these and like you just help us get there.
Right.
Help us get there. So that's evident in your leadership style as well. I'm happy that I'm finally getting to talk to both of you because marriage isn't easy.
No,
I'm not gonna proclaim that it's like hard either.
Right.
Because it is a beautiful thing, and I think you're like, well, because we got into an argument yesterday. I mean, what?
Not arguing. Disagree.
Oh, disagreement. Yeah,
Oh.
disagreement. So like because it's
What?
hard.
I was going to be very dramatic.
Can I interject? Can you kind of show people, because a lot of people our age don't know what a Christian disagreement looks like. So can you be vulnerable there and kind of open that up and tell us as much as possible what happened?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll do the one. It's about the house. Okay, cool. So right now we're in a moment where the government is crazy. There's a lot of executive orders from the commander in chief coming out right now that's making it really hard for government workers. Contractors are kind of like in the limbo as well as to like what could happen or what could possibly happen. So it's really a direction of like you don't want to go into a direction of fear, but you also want to be like when you want to steward your resources well, make sure you're prepared for any situation. At the same time, simultaneously, we started looking for a house. We found a really good house with a really good deal. Obviously
3.75 interest rate.
3.75.
I mean, that's unheard of
Yeah,
in today.
right.
Yeah.
It's a
Unheard of
really
today.
good situation
Yeah.
from prior veterans. So it's like we would be crazy not to at least go see it. It's the real deal, and they just got out of a situation that they're trying to sell their house. So given everything going on, me as the spiritual leader, just trying to make sure I'm mindful of these things, trying to convey that to my wife at the same time while she wants to get a home so we can think about having children and like all those things. The conversation didn't go as planned.
Right.
Which was like we would sit down just like this,
Right.
talk about all the different lanes, and it went sideways for sure. So I think more so of like me not listening to her and hearing her, and then me not feeling heard from the conversation that would you say that was?
Yeah, and also feeling rushed. We had parked our car in the street, and there was traffic coming in behind us. We're like, John, there's traffic. We gotta hurry this up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of the car to go to the grocery store, but we're having a disagreement. Oh, there's cars backing up behind us.
So yeah, trying to like make life decisions, as a Christian, knowing that God will provide. Also being good stewards of what He already provided you, and then like kind of going direction, and also I seeing blessings everywhere we go. So trying to like navigate that world, in a loving way, helping her understand my perspective. Especially working in the government space right now, and her not being in that space, but also trying to understand my perspective. It definitely went left.
Right. Right.
So that's where we were. How do you guys navigate your disagreements at this point?
Where you just kind of saw it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell her. I didn't prepare for her, get her prepared for this, and she expressed that. But it wasn't. You didn't do it. No, it wasn't fussing. It was a conversation. Well, you could have just gave me heads up on what to prepare for. Well, now I know. And she knows me. We've been married we're in our 31st year.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
Bible.
so when people ask you that, or they say how long you been married, and then they tell you, or you ask them that, ask them were they long or short. Ours was short. So that means they were good years.
Very good years. Very good years.
But yeah, it's a disagreement it's two people. It doesn't have to be an argument. It's just I look at it this way. And this is how our disagree to the point that our kids have never ever seen us argue. At my daughter's wedding the night before, we had a disagreement about the type of shirt that I was supposed to wear. So
Been there.
we kind of raised our voices a little bit. That's the first time we've ever done that. And my daughter thought we were getting a divorce because she's
Oh.
never heard us.
She's
Our
never
children
heard
has never heard us
Wow.
raise our voice at each other. And they have heard us have a disagreement. I think you should have turned back there. No, I think I should keep straight. I think I know where I'm going. Well, honey, you should have turned back. That's the conversations and the disagreements we have. And it's not all the time. Because over time, your disagreements, they're like this. Because you're taking two people and trying to make them one and live in the same household.
Yeah.
So that takes God.
Yeah.
The only thing that can fix that is God. So because if you are going this way, that's why they say don't be unevenly yoked. You know, you believe in this and she believes in 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐿. I mean, you know, that's the trees. She's
Wicked.
Wicked. You know?
Better not.
That's what I'm saying. You know, but again, that's not. It never works. It very rarely works well because you're on two different beliefs. When you're on the same belief, then you can understand it. And a lot of times, what we did was we went to the Bible. If we didn't understand something, and then I also showed the kids, listen, I don't know everything. I don't know everything about being a father. I don't know everything about being a husband. But what I do know is it's in the instructions are in the Bible.
Yeah.
First Corinthians. That's where it is. That's where it is.
So in the beginning of your marriage, like, how did you figure out how to lovingly, like, correct her and you to him?
So in the beginning of our marriage, I always said the best relationship start as friendship. We started as friendship. And as friends, you let 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐿𝐫𝐢 be yourself. So the communication was easier because we weren't putting on airs, weren't trying to be someone that we're not, just friends. So I think that set the foundation for how we would communicate anyway. And then not putting too much in front of people in your surroundings, because friends, they're going to have their perspective on things. They're going to want to put their spin on things. So making sure that when you have your conversations, you take it to the side, you have it private. Even if you have a moment, like we had a moment earlier, we may discuss this later, but it's not something that has to be put out on blast in front of everyone for others to feel like they need to be able to interject on. So early on, just communication and compromise. I tell my kids all the time, it's not Burger King, you can't have it your way. So you have to be able to compromise, give and take, hear the other person's perspective, and put your layer on top of it. But sit back and think about how you're going to respond.
Yeah. I'd say for me, like, I struggle a lot with the patience.
Yeah.
I'm long-winded.
Yes.
And and repetitive.
Yes.
Oh, is
That's
that a
me.
military thing?
It must
Might
be.
be. It might be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm long-winded too, so it just might be a guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the point? And how does this connect? Just
Right.
connect the dots for me. But I'm trying to figure out how to say that in a way that he's able to receive, and it's not you're stupid, you're crazy,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Right.
I do like
No, I
the
get
fact that my pastor, when we got married, he said, in order for me to officiate your wedding, you have to come to counseling sessions. And one of the things he said to me was, limit your time around single people. He said, I ain't telling you to cut all your single friends off, but I'm telling you to limit that time with them. Find you some friends that are happily married. And we did that.
We did.
All of our friends are happily married. Look right here.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can go hang out with him
Yeah.
because both of y'all will be here. Y'all will be with us. And we hanging. I can call it a hanging out, but it's really a couple still. And sometimes I found you got to find you what I call a man needs a ride or die, and that guy has to be somebody who's married and happily married, because I call him confidant. Because some things you can't give him, but that man can give him. Because he only understands it from a husband's perspective, not your couple's perspective, but from a husband's perspective.
That's good.
It's the same concept of having different levels of married couples together at dinner.
Mhm.
I'm hoping we can do that today. So that'd be great.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
because then you can learn from each other.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes if I want to make a point to her about, hey, this is the direction we need to be, I don't have to say it. I can sit around couples, and one of the couples will say something that will resonate with her,
Mhm.
and then she's like, you know what, we should probably, and it becomes her idea, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely okay.
Like the safety
You know,
thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So fun fact: our realtor last night, she was like strapped. She's ex-veteran.
She was strapped.
She was strapped.
She's like, I don't keep my eyes out forever. I drive a Porsche, and I'm not about to take my Porsche anywhere.
Yeah. And she had told us the last house that she showed us. She was like, oh, I don't know about this area,
Right.
Jessa and John. And this area, she was cool, but there was a car that driving by, and then me and her was like eyeing, and Jessa was like, oh yeah.
I love it. Why I gotta look after my surroundings when he's there?
Yeah.
Right. And
That's
I'm
right.
trained jujitsu.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so she was strapped. I was like, oh, okay. You know, she had started reiterating that, you know, hey, you know, you're an attorney, you're a businesswoman. You know, you walk around here and just kind of being aware of things that I've said multiple times because it drives me crazy. And but like I don't always I criticize her too much, you know, and that's something I'm trying to like work on. And that was a full circle moment because she was like, I was looking at her, and then the Porsche, our realtor,
I
was
was like, yeah, he said this to me before.
That's confirmation.
Yes.
just a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because she
can
has a heart.
relate. I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
There have been plenty of times he said, okay, somebody could come and just run over your head because you didn't see it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't be walking with my phone, but like, I also be dressing kind of cute in the wrong neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
It's okay.
Yeah, I think you had on like she has like this like nice like
had like a pea coat, or no,
Yeah.
I had like a long
Like
like
heels?
yes, and a little Coach purse, and she's like, "This is not the neighborhood." I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. No, I get it.
She'll learn quick going to Chicago in the metro.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I ain't going
Yeah,
to Chicago.
Oh my God, what am I doing?
I was
I
on
say, hey, ain't
the
nobody
metro.
tell you to dress like this. I told you. You know?
Yeah.
But I gotta be cute wherever I go.
Exactly.
That's right.
Talk about it. No, but yeah, that's helpful. And so like again, we talk about like fruits of the spirit, right? I think marriage has really been like a mirror for me specifically, and like, hey, I'm John. You're fruit. You got your fruit. You know, it might look there, but you know, sometimes you're selfish.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're impatient.
Right.
You know, so like, how has that been evident in your guys' relationship, and how have you like cultivated the fruit? Because I do think you have to cultivate the fruit for
You
sure.
do. You do. You do. I feel like in our relationship specifically, it's he is stronger where I'm weaker, and vice versa. So in times when I say he's the strong one, he's the calm one. I say that all the time. I'm the one that will like get all
Same.
riled up,
Same.
and he'll just come in and be like, "Okay, so let's just calm it down. It's not the end of the world. Let's not worry about it." So I feel like, but there are times when he is stressed. He doesn't react in the same way, but I can see it in him, and I will come, and I'm that one that's calmer. So it's helped us to really be able to keep each other balanced in our relationship, in whenever things come up, because you're always going to have something. There's always going to be something going on.
Yeah.
So for us, really being able to keep that balance has been helpful.
I mean, I tell young couples, it's like being partners in a business. You gotta talk to each other. Communication is key. If you're upset with her or she's upset with you, y'all gotta say it. It's just y'all. Just, hey, listen, I didn't like the way you presented that. Nobody else is there for you to, because a man, I get it. We don't like that insecurity thing. We like, what you saying? I was weak, you know. But you got to turn it off when you're talking to your wife. That's different, you know, because your wife is there to help you. At least she's supposed to be there to help you.
I am.
Just like your husband is supposed to be there to help you. You know, there shouldn't be anything malice. It should be all about, you know, this is how we can help each other move forward. So,
Because you'll see him in his most vulnerable state. He will not necessarily have that out for anyone else to see, but you will see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm a commander. Right?
Yeah, okay.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
and a rapper.
And a rapper.
And a rapper.
People can't see me like that, okay? But you can. No.
Okay.
No, but I think like for our relationship, I confront things too much,
Mhm.
kind of like picking your battles type of thing.
Right.
I don't do that well.
Right.
I got to
Right.
everything,
Yeah.
So I can definitely see how for her it comes off as criticism.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse when you retire
Oh God.
because everybody don't operate like the military.
This is true.
You're used to planning all the time. Like I told y'all are all project managers.
Yeah.
You've been a project manager ever since you've been an officer.
Yeah.
So you don't know any better. That's all you know. And I didn't know that. I'm telling y'all this. And I'm not taking heed to my own advice. I get out in the civilian world, you're going to think you're from another planet. Why can't they understand to do this? And that's frustrating for you. And then guess who got to deal with that? Your wife. So your wife is going to be the key piece to helping you transition. No matter where you go to, when you have bad times in the military, and they're going to be bad times, there's more good than you hope for, more good than bad. But when you have those bad times, you can't go to your boy over here.
Yeah.
You need your wife. I always tell my wife, I only have one 𝐬𝐲𝐿, and that's it right there.
Yeah.
So
I hope you're not referring yourself to Bill Cosby.
no,
No, he's not Bill.
no, I was in love.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, I was going to clear that. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I'm gonna clip that.
No.
Oh, he's not Bill.
Yeah. I'm not Bill.
Yeah.
I was in love with 𝐬𝐲𝐿.
Uh,
Woman
I was
named
like,
𝐬𝐲𝐿. So, and that's, everything from the time before I met my wife to right now, it's all been me praying. I literally, a friend of mine, my roommate in college said, hey man, if you really want the right girl, you're going to have to sit down and think through it and list it out.
Yeah.
And then pray to God.
Yeah.
And I did. And it were all the traits of 𝐬𝐲𝐿.
Make it
2
plain.
days later, I met her she was hanging out with a friend. She had just met a friend of mine, and he introduced her to me. When I shook her hand, I walked away, and my roommate said, "What's wrong?" I don't know, but I think that woman's gonna be my wife. That's literally what I thought, and that's not me just embellishing it. I'm telling you, I knew right then that she was gonna be my wife, and I worked to get to get in there and get them numbers, look that number. And that was it. And we became friends. This was a thing where she was my friend because I was trying to help her hook up with my friend,
Oh.
and she was trying to help me hook up with her friend. And then in the process, we fell in love. And I was like, "Listen, meet me at the house. I need to talk to you about something." And that's when that whole thing went down. And I thought she was going to say, and I humbled myself, and I'll go ahead and open myself up to tell that story. I mean, I didn't know how to talk to women, especially pretty women. I didn't know how to talk to pretty women. I mumbled. So you're not pretty.
Oh,
I was like,
Pretty is for
don't ruin it.
pretty is for young
I
cute
get it.
girls. My daughter is pretty, beautiful. No, so how I asked her. I literally called her and said I had this friend
He did.
who liked this girl, but he don't know how to deal with it. He don't know how to tell this girl because he's trying to hook the girl up with a friend of his. She knew right exactly.
No, for real.
So, and I literally did not know. And that's how I got.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
We out here.
And she said, okay, so what we going to tell him? I said, are you dating him? No. So, during that time, there was a code where he was pursuing her. My friend was pursuing her. So in order for me to even pursue her, I had to get his permission. So because I was quiet, and you probably don't know this about me, but I was a quiet guy in college. So I was quiet, and I said, hey, man, I'd like to pursue Nikki. And he was like, okay. But he took it as a joke. So in my mind, God was pulling me. I was like, this is getting ready to happen. So that's how we ended up. And we've been together. I mean, I to ask her every day, why me? I'm a goofy dude. I'm not this, I'm not the Rock,
The rock stove.
I'm not the, I ain't built,
Yeah, the rock
but
stove.
why me? And she's like, because God chose. That's it. So I'm thankful every day.
Mm.
So, but I pray every night,
Yeah.
every night,
Mm-hmm.
for God to give me the power to love my wife more than I already do.
Mm.
And I'm trying to reach agape.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I know it's unreachable, but I'm trying to reach it.
Yeah, you
So
imitate Christ's humility.
that's right.
Philippians.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you got me breaking down on this
I'm
podcast.
telling you.
Oh, you really love
How
that.
much is this gonna be aired?
Yeah.
And it's funny because last night I was after we had argued,
Yeah.
I was like, I told her I loved her, but I was like, man, I'm not loving like agape like, and I'm like, help me get there.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because it's like you gotta have that realization. I'm like, man, I'm
Correct.
falling short.
Right.
I'm like by a lot, man.
Right.
And I'm trying to like, man, like, please help me be more gentle and understanding to meet her that way on a
Yeah.
consistent basis.
Yeah, and God's been telling me, he's like, you're not humble like you think you are, so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit, he be spitting.
No.
Holy Spirit be spitting. And then these are revelations, and we look at Galatians and talk about you continue to get revelations, and it's so surreal. And I didn't get these before marriage, to be honest.
Mm.
Like that, if I was seeking the way I should have been seeking, But I got a question for you guys. So you met, you were friends,
Mhm.
you were dating,
Mhm.
now you're married. What changed when you had kids?
So as far as our communication,
Yeah. How did it
okay.
impact the marriage?
So I can remember like early on, we had a moment. I had started my business. I was working from home,
Okay.
and we had two little ones now, and so they were at home with me, and he was working outside of the home. And he would, just like any other job, you're working with your friends, now friends, oh, let's go and hang out, for a little bit before you go home.
Mm.
And so then it became a little bit more frequent.
Mm.
Now, I've been at home all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm working and have two little ones, and I'm cooking because I always cooked a meal every night. And so it came to a point where I was like, okay, look, this ain't what I signed. So we had to have a conversation about that. Like, okay, it's great that you have opportunities to hang with friends and bond. It's wonderful, but it can't be every night. It can't be this consistent because, I didn't sign up to be a single mom, and this is not the life that I wanted. And he had to hear me, and he made the adjustment, to see it because he wasn't seeing it. He was like, oh, I come home, I dinner on the table, everything's good, right? Everything looks great. So, we had to get over that hurdle, but it was just a matter of me being honest about the feeling, having the conversation, and him recognizing, oh yeah, I didn't look at it from that perspective to make the adjustment.
That's the clean version.
I was ready to say, how did you take it?
The real version was I knew because my mom and all of the mentors told me, listen, you're gonna trip a lot as a man. For some odd reason, God gave the instructions to marriage to women. He didn't give it all to the men.
Yeah.
So you got to learn through hard knocks with knuckles on your head. So what she really said was, I can do this all by myself. And that was a wake up call for me because I'm not losing this one. So, and I'm not losing what we have here. So that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
That was just an eye opener. I thought what I was doing was right, but obviously it wasn't. She gave me that feedback that it was not. And that feedback was enough to wake me up. And I have not been left by, her by herself with the kids since.
He made the adjustment to say, I won't go anywhere that my wife can't go.
That's right.
Basically.
That's right.
I love that you just said that. That's why I scaled down from my media business and went and found a full time job. You got a family of 6.
Right. And another.
Yeah. And one.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, good Christian man right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
God say multiply.
Then somebody needed me in Cali for 2 weeks. I said no.
That's right. You gotta make those decisions for your family because it does work out good. When you have a good relationship, this is important because a teacher once told me this. If you mess this up, you mess up a whole community. That's why marriage is serious for me. Because if you can't get this right, and then you end up having kids, and they see this, then they think that's the way it's supposed to be. And then they end up having kids, having
getting with
partners the
somebody,
same,
doing
and
the
they
same
be
thing.
doing the same
Generational.
thing. So you
Yeah.
just messed up a whole community.
Yeah.
So we have a job to do as a couple. Married couples have a job. You got to do this relationship right. Because I'm telling you, the positive of this is it's beautiful when you can sit down and have a conversation with your children, and your children say, I got friends that say they had issues with their parents, and I say, I can't help you with that because I don't have issues with my parents. I call my parents all the time. I got good relationships with my mom and dad. That's a good thing.
It is a blessing.
So
It's a blessing.
in my mind, I just help the community, so so my daughter's husband, he doesn't know all of that.
Yeah.
His mom and dad were not the same as me and Nikki, but he's learning that through my daughter. He's like, nah, this is what we doing. We're going to my mom's house, and you're gonna see how my dad and my mom react to the child that we have. And that's how I did with my kids. I spent time with my kids. You do things that and I explained to him, dude, I know your dad is not what you wanted him to be, but you can't change him. Your dad is in his 60s. He is going to be who he's going to be. The best thing you can do is be the man, be the father that you wish your dad would have been to your own child. That's what I did. And my kids got too much of me. They'll tell you all day long, we ain't never had, we don't have no issues of not seeing you there. You was always there and spending that time with them. That means, Jonathan, that means if you have a girl, one day that daughter is going to come to you, tap you on the shoulder and say, Daddy, play dolls with me. You got to get down there with her.
Yeah.
It ain't about everybody else. It's no more about this, what the fella's going to think. Forget what the fella's going to think. All you should be caring about is what that woman next to you thinks. If she thinks that you are doing a good thing with her child and your child, then you're right. That's what it's all about. Put on the wig that your daughter put on you and play tea party with your daughter and them dolls. I did
On the
it.
way.
She want to see the wig.
Make sure it's red though.
Yeah. She want to see that.
And make sure you get a picture.
Yeah.
No, it's and that's so surreal because like I've been like just immersing myself in the content because we want to have children, and I've been seeing more and more people talk about the accountability that comes with being a man. Mainly like Christian people and talking about changing the narrative of like especially in the Black community, of like changing the narrative of what we see in the community. And one big person, and I don't think he's a Christian, but Mighty Mouse, the mixed martial artist, he just retired. And he's married, and he was like, "Yo, I used to come back from like a UFC fight in Vegas, come back, do the dishes so my wife won't have to do them, and play with my kids and take care of my kids." And that was my lifestyle. So he's 20 years in now. And he's like, "Yo, that's my lifestyle. I'm taking care of my kids. And he's like, it was important for me to not only show that to my wife, but show it to my children. And and I see the difference in your kids. Like when I met them, I was like, "Oh yeah, they different. Yeah, they ain't worrying about the same stuff I had to worry about, anything like that, which is a blessing. Just to like see these good kids." And then I met Wade. I was like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this guy. I'm gonna message him.
Yeah.
And it's so surreal. I'm super grateful that you guys are here for this like mentoring session. There's a lot of couples who are thinking about getting married. That are married that are like struggling. They're gonna talk about having kids. What's something you would leave with them right now?
Like I said, communication and compromise. Always. I mean, you've got to be open. You got to be vulnerable, especially if this is someone that you're building with, you're trying to build with. You have to be able to open up, but also listen, really listen to their side. Yeah.
I'm going to take you to the Bible again. I'm sorry to make this a Bible study.
Now, this is a Christian
it's good.
podcast.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, you can read the Bible from cover to cover. You can read even the Catholic Bible. It's the same as ours anyway, cover to cover, right? The whole overarching picture of that Bible is this. God don't care about what you want. He cares about what you're giving. He doesn't care about what you want. He cares about what you're giving. It's all about giving and helping each other. So no matter what situation you're in, whether you're a couple trying to be together as, holy matrimony, or you have friends, or you're working and you got employees working for you. If you give without the receiving something back, worried about anything coming back, you will get all that you're looking for. Because the whole point of life is quenching that thirst. You know, everybody's trying to quench that thirst. If I can just be a major, I make a little more money. When you make a little more money, you're gonna be, if I can just be that lieutenant colonel to make a little more money. Your thirst will never be quenched unless you go to God and give. That's what it's all about. That is all about that. Yeah.
Greatest commandment is love.
Amen. You have anything to ask him, baby?
No, that's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for listening for the Maxis podcast.
𝐿